Welcome to another video of Unscripted. I don't know, that's just what I've been calling it. But before I get into the story that everyone's been talking about, I do want to talk about my past video review. Apparently it's a video that everyone has liked so much that they've become dazed and confused and they're clicking the wrong button. But in all seriousness, I mean, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. If I didn't like the movie, I'm going to tell you I didn't like the movie. I'm not going to pretend to say, oh, I like this movie, I think it's a great masterpiece or whatever, just to please, I guess, a certain audience or whoever I'm showing the video to. I think that's ridiculous. Not to sound like a pompous ass or anything like that, but my criticisms are very well justifiable. I understand that these characters are supposed to be metaphorical, but I don't believe that's a good excuse for producing such underdeveloped characters. Take Drive, for instance, Nicolas Refn's previous film. Basically, that entire story is an allegory for the scorpion and frog story. These are characters with layers. There is character development to be seen. So I really don't think that's a good excuse for producing such underdeveloped characters. Personally, I think this film would have probably have worked better if it were some sort of 20 to 30 minutes short, because honestly, I really don't think this movie needed to have the extra hour that it had. I thought it was a little too long in that sense, because like I said in my review, the narrative is almost non-existent here, and the characters are flat as hell. So those are my thoughts about Only God Forgives. If you want to know more about what I thought, you can check out my review. I will put a link at the end of the video to check it out if you want to. So without further ado, let's get on to the story that everyone's been talking about, and that is Batman appearing in Man of Steel 2. So anyone who's ever seen any of my reviews, you might have noticed some of my Batman posters. You might have heard me talk about Batman. You might have seen my top 20 list of 2012. Hell, I'm even wearing a Batman shirt right now. Everyone that knows me, I guess personally, or anyone who, like I said, who's ever watched any of my videos, you would probably assume, or you would probably know, that I'm this huge Batman freak. I grew up watching the show, the Batman animated TV series they used to come on Cartoon Network. But I guess really my great love for Batman really kind of stems from the Nolan Batman films. Now, like I said, I've always been a fan of Batman. I've always liked Batman. But it was only until Batman Begins, when I saw it when I was 12 years old, I saw it in the cinema. It really revamped my love for this character and made me realize why I loved Batman in the first place, why he was such a great character, and I guess it just kind of goes on from there. I've watched the Nolan movies countless times. I've played the Batman games, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, a couple of times as well, and I never play games more than once. I usually just play them once and I'm done. But the Batman games, I love them a lot. They're one of my all-time favorite games. The Nolan Batman films are one of my all-time, well, the whole entire trilogy would make up one of my all-time favorite movies. I love those movies that much. So considering that I'm such a huge, obsessive fan of this character, you would think that I might be excited for, Batman appearing in the next Man of Steel. But I gotta tell you, I'm not quite. In fact, I'm actually pretty damn nervous, and I'm going to tell you why. If you've seen my Man of Steel video review, I talked about some of the problems I had with Man of Steel. In my last Unscripted video, I did talk about how I did see Man of Steel for the second time, and I had a lot more problems with it, primarily in the writing, thanks to David S. Goyer, who cannot write dialogue to save his life. In fact, I really think, if you go back and watch the Batman films, the Nolan Batman films, you'll notice that some of the dialogue is actually pretty bad. Man of Steel is filled with that kind of stuff. The Dark Knight films, the Nolan Batman films, not as much, just in little areas here and there, like the SWAT guy from Dark Knight and just some other stuff. I said in my last Unscripted video that I thought that David S. Goyer needs another writer on board for the next Man of Steel. Well, thankfully that is the case. Unfortunately, it's Zack Snyder. Now, I think Zack Snyder, I think he's a decent director. I think Zack Snyder has a great sense of style, but unfortunately, he's not that great of a writer. I think Sucker Punch proves that. So I'm pretty damn nervous about this. I'm pretty nervous about him touching Batman. Like I said, Batman is a character I care so much about, and I really don't want to see a repeat of Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin, which destroyed Batman. I mean, literally took Batman and just tore him apart. Those movies are really terrible. But honestly, I'm kind of glad that Joel Schumacher fucked up Batman like he did, because honestly, if it weren't for Joel Schumacher doing what he did, I don't think Warner Brothers would have ever said, okay, we need to change this up. We need to find a filmmaker who's actually going to treat this property with respect and give Batman the respect that he deserves. Now, I genuinely do believe that Zack Snyder and David Score will try. I don't believe they're just going to go in and just try to fuck it up on purpose or anything like that. But I just don't think they have what it takes. I mean, let's be honest here. Zack Snyder is nowhere near the filmmaker Christopher Nolan is. Whether you're a fan of Christopher Nolan's work or not, Zack Snyder is just not as good. And David S. Goyer is not as good as a writer as Christopher Nolan is. Now, I'm not saying that I want another Dark Knight, because, I mean, this is not Dark Knight, this is Man of Steel. But what I want is something that's good, and I'm just nervous that what we get is just not going to be good. And another problem I have with this movie is that Man of Steel comes out in 2015, so it will have only been 3 years since we last saw Batman and The Dark Knight Rises. So I think that's a little too soon. I mean, honestly, I think it's just way too soon. So, I mean, obviously, it's just Warner Brothers just trying to make a quick buck and nothing else. It's basically Warner Brothers just trying to get a piece of that pie that Avengers got, and that's what they're doing. So it's nothing but that. But who knows, I might be paranoid for no reason. The movie could end up being really awesome. Regardless, I'm interested to see what it's going to be like. As for actors they could get to play as Batman, I don't know. I mean, some people have said Carl Urban. I think that'd be an interesting choice. Yeah, if they went with him, I'd be okay with that, because he does kind of have that look. But personally, I would probably go with a lesser known actor. I think that'd probably be the better way to go. Someone who's not really known. I think that'd be kind of cool. But anyway, that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on this whole story. And as always, I'm Colin Kirkland, and thank you so much for watching.